All right, another episode of Bros, Brews, and Big Ideas. This is Aiden's topic. I'm already worried about it. How low can Tesla stock go?
It's a question I'm wondering myself. I'm wondering how low can this stock go? And we started talking about it on our walk this morning, right? We were like, how low can this stock go? And you kind of got me scheming. You're like, well, I don't think anyone's actually thinking about like the earnings and like the PE ratio.
No.
And I was like, wait, what do you mean, Gally? And you're like, well, it's like 140 PE ratio.
Oh no!
And I was like, what? Like, okay. Like, so they did $7 billion in net income last year, and
I mean, Nvidia's got earnings backing up its valuation rise.
yeah, it's like so Nvidia's at 40 PE ratio, the S&P's at 30 PE ratio, which is already kind of high, and so like even if Tesla were to 3x earnings, like the PE ratio could go down by 3x, but it would still be at like a very high like PE ratio just to be normal with Nvidia.
Yes. So, okay. Well, here, like, obviously, I've been in shambles since I had to sell 10% of my Tesla stock and make my video. Hasn't been easy. Like, I see Aiden. We get to Austin. He's like, bro, like, are you okay? Like, I saw the video.
I was like, dude, this is
my
like
mom
a big
texted
deal.
me.
Yeah.
She's like, Gally, time to get out of investing. You look horrible on the video. You're stressed out. I'm like, oh God. Like, oh my God. So I need to clear the record of like, I'm holding so much Tesla stock still. Like, it's by far my biggest position.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with Tesla. Like, I think it's gonna crush it in the long term.
Tesla's to 10 trill.
And I'm already having like in my G2 Amelie account. I'm telling you, I was like, damn, I've been watching it go down. Like, maybe now I'm starting to buy them back again. So I've been trying to like deal with my peace of mind of OCD of like selling a tiny bit of my. Anyway, fuck it. Tesla stock, had the massive rise, 200 to 450.
The Trump pump, basically. Once that
Trump pump, like, and Elon even said it himself. He was screwed if the election hit and like the Democrats won. I'm also like, wait, I'm gonna make sure we're recording. This is about to be a banger. Yep. Okay. And then what happens next? It's like, all right, like Trump wins, the stock rips. We're gonna have self-driving cars. We're gonna get approved, blah blah blah. And and now all these protests have broken out. I have no idea, it's like, is the brand hurt? Some people are beefing with it. I personally think everyone's like totally misguided in their hate and beef with Elon.
Oh yeah.
And like it's such an ironic thing. And like, that's what killed me about it's just like the false reality is actually taking hold of reality. And like this false narrative is like becoming truth to some people, and they're protesting Tesla when they should be cheering it on as like the most amazing American company, and like that just like kills me. And so I have so much respect for all the Tesla people like hanging in there and like supporting right now, because I know it's not easy, and I know like everyone has haters in their life like telling them that that's a bad idea. So it's this fascinating moment of Tesla, like you said, doesn't have the backstop of earnings. And
well, it's interesting to see it become like early on in Tesla when you were fighting for it at the beginning. It was divisive because it was like a climate company against like the oil and natural gas. And now it's divisive because it's like becoming like this political, like, are you right, left? Are you Trump? Are you anti-Trump? Like this whole Doge thing. And Tesla's getting the brunt of it. That now is like people are like you're saying, protesting stores. It's a topic of every conversation. Elon is like the biggest celebrity right next behind Trump. And so it's like it could become so different for the Tesla brand. And now you're having all these people like speak up and be like, people aren't understanding it. Now it's becoming like information warfare about Tesla. But now the fear is it actually might impact sales in places like Europe and maybe in the US. We just heard from maybe in California. And Tesla was already last year lowering the price of the vehicle, which hurt their gross profit, just to kind of increase the vehicles delivered in sales. And so they already kind of had to do that in 2024. But what's going to happen in 2025?
Yeah, and you had the interest rates hitting it. And so, and we've never seen a case study like this. And that's why I think it's so fascinating, interesting to make content about. And that's why, like, my rational investor brain was like, I had to do what I had to do, because I've never encountered a situation like this. Like, we are in such uncharted waters with Elon Musk being so polarizing, so in the news, so just everywhere all at once with the strongest emotions of all time, and Tesla being caught up in those crosshairs. We are literally in like absolutely uncharted territory, and Tesla being on the cusp of unveiling the most powerful technologies that are going to create the most value for shareholders that we've ever seen. the Tesla bot and Optimus. So you have
And
this,
when those materialize and trying to guess when that product might like come.
and that's what we've been talking about is how much does the market give leeway to Elon Musk and say, we believe in you, Elon. We know that when Robotaxi launches, cash flow is going to go break even, maybe slightly negative when we're starting to go into growth mode and optimize for launching this Robotaxi service and getting it off the ground. At what point where you have break even, but you're valued at $1 trillion, how long does the market give you that valuation and say, well, maybe they give you it forever and maybe that actually goes up because they're saying you're getting closer to that $5 trillion Robotaxi goal. So I think we should be getting $2 trillion when you launch Robotaxis here in Austin in June. And so,
or the flip side of that is they're launching all these Robotaxis and they're paying for them out of pocket, like themselves, and they're not making, they're spending $30,000, but they're only making, a couple thousand from each of these taxis. So they become like a cash flow negative company for, maybe like a year or something or a few quarters because they're spending all this money. And then the market was like, hey, we thought this Robotaxi thing was going to be wildly profitable. We're seeing that it's might be way longer to pay back and way more complex than we thought. And the market really corrects from that early on, maybe in the first 6 months of the rollout.
right? And it takes me back to a Buffett quote of you got to know what you don't know. And I don't know how this plays out in Tesla's financials in the short term. And I don't know the market's patience in adapting to those financials, if I'm being honest. Because I think it's going to be, like you said, this moment of Tesla being profitable and now they're going to go to break even. But at the same time, executing on this vision that is so big. It's just so unprecedented, honestly. But to get back to numbers and nerding out of where Tesla could go, part of me is scared to say negative scenarios of Tesla because I feel like people will judge me, but it's I'm playing them out of my mind. In my mind, I'm playing out.
That's what a good investor would do, would be to understand what could go wrong, right?
Totally. But I think there's a weird element with Tesla of really wanting to support it because you believe in it because it's bigger than a company. And it's always been that with Tesla. It's always been about the mission. It's always been about something bigger than you that you're supporting. And I think that's super powerful. And that's why it gives me pause to not, I don't know. It's just something bigger than making guap.
Totally.
And so I think that's a super important thing to consider about Tesla. But let's throw that out the window and do the savage analysis in my brain is okay, you could easily go to, Tesla's a $100 billion revenue company. Maybe they go to $110 billion with energy pumping them, but domestic sales are down. Maybe new Model Y in China helps, all up in the air. But let's say growth is in the, teens. I think that might even be a bullish scenario. And they've guided for 20 to 30% unit vehicle growth this year. That might be in question with all of the protests and stuff. So if they have to take down their guidance, what does the market think about that? Then the market's wait, well, you've been at kind of 25 billion-ish in revenue a quarter for a bunch of quarters. They might post their lowest delivery in 9 quarters in Q1 of this year, the second year-over-year Q1 decline in a row. So how does the market perceive all that? I think the market could easily perceive that as saying, why are we valuing a company that has 20-25% gross margins at 9 times revenue that isn't growing? That doesn't make sense. That's a hall pass that only Elon Musk has been getting.
While the earnings is shrinking. Too.
Yeah. So this isn't exactly. So I think it's then I would see through that and say well, I see the long-term vision. I see the value in Cybercab. I see Optimus as being such a big opportunity that, we need to place a premium on Tesla, even though you're not seeing it in the financials yet. But I think there's a clear chance or probability of the market saying, auto companies have been historically valued at 0.5 times sales or even less. So Tesla to be valued at just maybe even 4 times sales is a huge premium, especially if they're not growing. And if Tesla valued at 4 times sales, I can make a case for 4 times sales. I can make a case for 3 times sales. And if you make that case for 3 times sales, then 300 billion, that's a third of where we are today. That would be, if you assume the 3.5 billion outstanding number, including Elon's stock options, you're talking about $80 a share, $90 a share would be 300 billion, fully diluted. So it's just about Tesla doesn't have an earnings backstop to kind of mathematically prop up the valuation in between this Robotaxi launch. So that is what's so fascinating. We've never seen a company this size essentially be what I would call startup mode. We are not in the maturity of cash flows. We're not even close to seeing the maturity of cash flows. We haven't even seen the product. The product doesn't even exist yet. that we're all talking about, Cybercab and Optimus. Like no one's done a ride on Cybercab and paid Tesla money, let alone have it be at a good margin, which is what you need to justify it. So we've never seen a company of this size be in startup mode, which is that's why it's so fascinating. One of the greatest case studies of all time in capitalism, because
But one caveat to the declining sales in the U.S. and Europe and Canada is the Model Y refresh and how that's going to kind of play a role, because now that's rolling out in China. Maybe we'll see how that happens and see what's going to happen in the U.S. and see how that affects things. And then the energy business continuing to grow, but that's not going to. I think they forecasted going from like 10 billion revenue to 15 billion in revenue or something like that. So it can maybe help a little bit offset things, but not like a ton.
And we were talking about superchargers today. Like, how big is that supercharger business? Like, yes, they're the de facto gas station of, pretty much everyone, and they're dominating there. But how much margin are they really making on that? Like, it's super interesting because Cybercab and Optimus end up dwarfing everything else that Tesla's doing from an earnings perspective. So in many ways, when you buy the stock, you're just buying like an option that never expires on those two businesses. You're not buying it for the businesses it has today. You're buying it for the chance to own this Cybercab and Optimus business that don't exist. And that is unlike anything, maybe I keep saying that, but like Google, like the search business exists. You're buying it for what exists. Amazon, it exists.
But one thing that I think is interesting, why the Cybercab and Optimus kind of represent the long-term earnings potential, and how does that earnings potential, like how big does it have to be to start to justify the $1 trillion market cap from earnings from Cybercab and stuff like that, and like when are we realistically going to see those earnings from Cybercab to like kind of support this $1 trillion valuation? But I do think like with semi-truck coming out in 2026, you're like there's 6.5-7 million semi-trucks on the road in the United States alone. Like this could be something, and this is going to be mostly the businesses that are like agnostic to kind of Doge Elon sentiment. This could be the catalyst that like really adds, I'm talking like $5 to $10 billion in revenue like very quickly, if they're depending how quickly they're able to scale up manufacturing and there's demand, and it's kind of not tied down by the hate for Elon right now.
Yep.
So that's like a very, very big catalyst. But I think the question what we're talking about is how low can Tesla go in the next kind of 6 months during this extremely rocky period before you have the hype building around Cybercab, this potential new product that I think they've hinted at. Like Q1 and Q2 could be extremely rough, and then how they can bounce back and actually like come back from that.
Yeah, it's going to be so interesting to watch. And I don't know, part of me feels like a lot of it has been priced in. Like we have gone down from so we were 200 before the election, then we rip up to 4 something. Now we're back down to 280 as we're recording this. And, what has happened since then? Yeah, we got a little bit of drama and Elon hate, but we also have the Robotaxi in June announcement. We also have Optimus is 1,000 robots coming this year, 10,000 coming next year. It's about to sell to people. Like, we're already basically in March, ending of Q1 2025. Like, okay, 12 months from now, we're in 2026. That's already in the gravy train. Market is forward looking. The market it's looking at the future. And I think Elon Musk has genuinely deserved the benefit of the doubt when it comes to these things. If it was any other entrepreneur in the world, I would not believe it. Like I would be like, I'm hesitant to give Cybercab value. Like I'm hesitant to give Optimus too much value. But Elon Musk has he's done the impossible so many times, and I feel like with 99% certainty he will achieve both those things. It's just about when. And when he achieves them, they will be the biggest company in the world. So it's like, I don't know, even talking about it now makes me just feel like such an idiot for I had to sell or whatever because of I had to sell my eensy weensy 10% of my Tesla position, and now I'm already FOMOing to buy it back. But it makes it's just like, if you think long term about it, it pisses me off that
Totally.
I had to do that.
But I do think there could be a time where Q1's rough, like we're saying. They don't really have the Model Y refresh. Maybe hasn't caught fire yet. Everything we're talking about, and maybe it's Q2 as well. But then this is kind of could be as rough as it gets.
Yeah, I don't see. And is it really rough because we have $30 billion in cash?
No, totally. It's not
Like,
rough.
like
Yeah.
Tesla's not gonna go
No,
away.
no,
like
no.
that's what kills me. It's like, bro, like it used to be Tesla might go bankrupt
if
if they
you're
had a
look-
shitty quarter. Now it's like we chilling.
But the way I'm thinking about it is like, because I've been looking at the stock personally, and like this is obviously not investment advice, but I'm like, okay, well, the next 6 months feels like a window of where the stock could be in pain, and who knows where it could go. Like then you heard Elon on the earnings call talk about how like 26 and 27 could be like boom and then mega boom. So then you start to be in that second half of 25 and you start to get forward looking, like you're saying, then the market's starting to get like potentially really excited really quickly. So this is kind of, we're in the period of pain right now where people are kind of feeling it, but sentiment will start to shift as time goes on to that 26. So,
Right, like sentiment could get hot. If
Yeah.
Cybercab is whipping around, all of a sudden there's a video of like 100 Optimus like you know how much 100 Optimus robots is, all like picking stuff up in the Tesla factory. Like people are gonna lose it.
Yeah, or you see an Optimus start going around with a semi truck in 2026, say in partnership with Pepsi. You know, like taking out the Pepsis and dropping it off at some location.
It's the new Pepsi Pilot.
Yeah. So to wrap things up, like how low can Tesla go? Like who knows? Like it's valued up big on like an earnings multiple right now. It could go down as low as maybe 3x from here down to like $100, $150 a share. Who knows? Like somewhere around there, $80 a share. But like it's just impossible to predict the market in these things. I think just to be prepared for anything and not be like too like, oh, of course all these big things are coming. Like that's where I'm coming from, is like, don't be so like, oh, Cybercab, Optimus, Semi, like so bullish and I'm so excited and I believe the stock is going to appreciate in the long term, but also be tied to reality of like where we're at today as a company and the earnings and where the business is at and kind of what's coming, that like be understanding of where it could go too. That's kind of...
Yeah, like it's at some point like the earnings got to hit. And I will say Tesla has shown us that though. Like in 2022, like they've hit 4 billion in earnings in a quarter, and they was way less products and potential than they have now. Like Tesla's shown us, and you know now they're telling us we're about to invest into this next period, and they've done it. That's why I give them the benefit of the doubt. Like they've done it before to show they can pump out unprecedented profits for their industry, and I think they will continue to defy norms and do that. That's why like my real answer of like how low can Tesla go is like, you know, my answer to myself is I had to put myself in a position to not give a fuck and to be like, I don't need to worry about it because I'm holding through like this. And if it goes lower, like that's a gift from God and like I'll be swooping them in, you know, like then I'm going to start coming in and like buying them up. But like just, you know, and I feel like it's such, you know, like your alpha is your ability to think long term and like have different horizons and not get lost in the sauce with like these earnings swings kind of, which we know are meaningless. But it's just, it's fascinating because I feel like part of it is in uncharted waters. Like, you know, to play the other side of it, it's like I've never seen like I'm literally, part of me is in like a nightmare of like people are literally protesting outside the Tesla store. Like I'm from Seattle, like I can't bring up Elon Musk like I literally cannot mention Elon Musk. Like people are probably talking behind my back. Everyone that knows me in Seattle being like, Galley's an Elon fan. Like he supports Doge. Like he's an asshole. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
but that is like a real thing.
I think you got it. Like you wear that proudly though.
Well, I wear it proudly, and like when I look back, like when I think about the future and like look back and like think about like, you know, we speak our truths. And I think that'll be powerful. And I think like the things you're most proud of are like the hardest things in the moment, you know? It's like, oh, like I actually spoke my truth when everyone like that was super dumb but that was brave and like that was dope and I'm so proud of that. Like that was what Tesla was everyone. And it's so funny started talking about, it's like it started to be that the Republicans fucking hated, every Republican no matter what hated Elon Musk. Now it's every Democrat no matter what hates Elon Musk. Like I've seen this shit swing. It blows my mind. And I'm always like so in retrospect, always so pumped that, you know, we held our like positions and convictions and I didn't like let these bullshit people who I know are wrong like silence my own truth, you know? And so I think that's a super like powerful thing that like I've been really inspired by a lot of people in the Tesla community who like do that. But that's the flip side of it, is like there's so much disruption that Elon's taking on beyond Tesla that it's become this crazy beast that you know, part of me is like, how do you put the cat back in the bag? Like I don't know. And so it's it's fascinating times. But that just to end the point of like, it just bums me out that there's protests and like it's a little bit of like a.
You know what's interesting though right now is like, oh, he's so powerful. He's like helping out with Doge in America, and oh, he's helping Trump and all this stuff and the protests. But this is like pre-Elon, like Cybercab being successful and like Optimus and like Tesla becoming like a $10 trillion company and Elon the first trillionaire. Like in SpaceX sending people to Mars. You know, like we've talked about this on like our Understanding the Elon Musk Empire episode, but you know, this is kind of the like still the early uncharted waters of someone that's like really disrupting humanity.
Like we haven't even scratched the surface of the disruptions
of what people
Elon's gonna do.
Everyone's like, oh, Doge America, but it's like, how about when he's like the Cybercab service and the charging service is like running the transportation, and you're taking the Robovan, you know, and it's like doing everything, and then you have your Optimus in your home, and everyone's using it, and it's everywhere. Everyone like imagine like Elon then, and like maybe that's 10 years, 15 years from now, but it's gonna be like, whoa, like this guy is like touching our lives in a way that like Steve Jobs. You know, like only like the iPhone has been pretty transformative, but this is even bigger than that potentially.
Yeah, but like on that scale,
on that
like
scale.
How many people really like change the course of humanity for every human?
Yeah,
like that like never happens.
Yeah,
and like Elon's about to change it for every human in such a big way. Like Mars is gonna open up. We're gonna evolve with the humanoids in this weird like robotic. You know, we're gonna have robots. It's gonna be the new personal computing device. So we're gonna have C-3POs. And it's hard to wrap your head around how one person created all that disruption. And like, you know, like it's funny because like a lot of the haters try and think like Elon doesn't have original ideas. He's not this. Like, I almost feel like he doesn't get enough credit for how much like how fucking boring and peon this world would be if he didn't exist. Like, we'd still be driving gas cars. Like no one would be talking about humanoid robots.
No one would be going to space.
No one would be going to space. We'd be like confined on Earth. Like it would just like it would be like such a dull, depressing like humanity just like in the doldrums if we didn't have Elon.
And this is the point I think to end on is like if you're an investor, how can you buy and support Elon? Like there's one vehicle. It's Tesla stock. All of his other companies are private.
Yep.
So he's the most interesting, most like ambitious, powerful, unique individual in the world. And there's only one stock you can buy to have upside in his success, and that's Tesla. And there's always going to be a massive premium on that.
Damn. And honestly, you got my FOMO pumping. Like it's, you know, I mean, and I wear it as a badge of honor. Like being a Tesla investor is. Like it's you really relate to other people who are Tesla investors.
Totally,
because it's like such a
you get it,
and it's such a hard like, you know,
roller coaster.
Such a roller coaster of like crazy shit that's going down. So I'm sure that will continue.
Yeah, if anything, accelerate.
And you know, fired up to keep scheming about it on HyperChange. But let us know what y'all think. Like you know, what's up with Tesla stock? We'd love to hear it. So good shit.